guys, Mustang here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the free-to-play ARMS unit that got his EZA alongside all of the other free-to-play Heroes units. I haven't done videos on all of the free-to-play ones because some of them, whilst their EZAs are somewhat decent, I'm not sure how much I would use them or anything. I might get around to it, but obviously we have all the Trunks and Vegeta stuff coming out tomorrow. I think Demon Goddess Poutine is actually still pretty good, so I might do one for her as well. But this ARMS unit I wanted to show off because I do think he is one of the more versatile of the units, because he is not locked onto a crossover team. So even though we're going to show him on that team for this video, because that's where he gets his 200% leader skill, I do think that he's a unit that could see some use on other teams. So his super attack is the Super Black Kamehameha, raises defense for 1 turn, does supreme damage to the enemy and lowers attack and defense. And then his passive is attack and defense 120%, extreme class allies key +2 and defense 30%, artificial life forms allies 30% attack, and then an additional 30% attack when attacking. He gets an additional defense 30% with each attack received up to 150, so he's got to be hit 5 times, and then he has a high chance to stun the enemy. So I basically gave mine full additional and then some dodge, because we want him to get as many supers as possible. He is only raising the defense for 1 turn, but as a support unit, it's one of those things, you either go all the way dodge or all the way additional to get that extra defense, but once he's fully built up, I've seen screenshots of him with some pretty decent defense, but these are the teams that he's on. Now, as you can see from reading out his passive, he is not tied to Dragon Ball Heroes or Dragon Ball crossover allies, and he's providing defense to all extreme allies and then attack to artificial life forms. So obviously he's on artificial life forms, but teams like Time Travelers, Power Absorption, you could run him on AGL Cell's team, right? Because he's on Power Absorption. Cell is an artificial life form, so he'd be giving him the support. Obviously he would only be on the 170 leader skill because he's not an android, but he could still be very useful. He's on Transformation Boost, and of course, he has big bad bosses. He has Fear and Faith, Metamorphosis, he has Kamehameha, which is obviously not a very common extreme link, but he does have some solid links. So we're going to try him out here on the team. We'll let Golden Cooler go first here. Well, I guess I probably should have let him get some hits in, but on this rotation, we don't have big bad bosses. We have Metamorphosis, Fear and Faith, Shattering the Limit, and he has 122k. Now, obviously that's not very high, but bear in mind he's going to raise defense on super, and then we are going to get extra defense with each hit that he takes for the first 5 hits. So ideally we do want him to take those hits as early as possible. Ideally not super attacks if possible, but obviously, that's always the problem when it comes to free-to-play units. 2.5 on the first turn is not too bad. Again, remember, we're probably not going to see crazy attack stats out of him because he is just here to be a support unit. Baby Janemba with 5.1 is pretty decent as well. I think, is he an artificial life form? I'm actually not sure. Are all the Janembas? I always forget whether Janembas are on artificial life forms or not. Let's have a look. He is, yeah. And is normal Janemba on there as well? Because Baby is an artificial life form. Yeah, so I guess it's the Baby part of it that's making it the artificial life form. So yeah, he was getting that extra attack buff from ARMS, so obviously a little bit of extra attack for him. So yeah, ARMS definitely a unit that can fit nicely on the Heroes team, especially because he has big bad bosses, and he's providing defensive support and key to everyone, even if they're not an artificial life form, which obviously quite a few of the Heroes units aren't, but it does give him that extra little bit of versatility for being run on other teams. Like for example for Battlefield, I use as my extreme AGL build, I use Cell's team, and I actually had ARMS on there as the as one of the last units, even though pre-EZA he obviously wasn't very good, but he was just kind of there for a little bit of support in that mode, whereas obviously now he could actually be somewhat useful on that team. Now, Big Bad Boss is not a super common link on that team depending on how you build it, but the fact that he even has it is obviously very, very good, because the 2 turns that we've seen previous, he hasn't had big bad bosses active. This turn, he does have big bad bosses. I should have checked his start of turn defense, but he's about to get hit 3 times on this turn, which means we are going to be almost fully built up now. So 3.1 on the attack stat, See, that's obviously Big Bad Bosses helping to buff that up a little bit. And cool, we take double-digit damage despite the type disadvantage. So he only needs one more hit to be fully built up. I floated off that other hearts because the way I would probably run him just for the sake of the showcase, because he is going to be a third slot floating unit, right, for the team. And that's why it's good that he doesn't stack. Like, he doesn't need to stack defense. So oftentimes units that you're floating off in the third spot, they don't get to super because you kill the enemy before it gets to them, and then you find yourself getting to the later harder stages and they don't have enough defense stacked up. Whereas this guy, he needs to take some hits, which hopefully you can get early on, and then after that, like his super attack effect, he's just raising defense for one turn. So he should be looking pretty good now that we have a constant source of Big Bad Bosses, because we can put hearts in slot 1. He's providing extra defense for hearts as well. So we've got Big Bad Bosses, Metamorphosis, and Shattering the Limit. Yeah, so if we do this, we only have Big Bad Bosses. So a lot of the units that are going to float into slot 3 can make up for those links that we have missing. So with the support, yeah, he's at 385k at the start of the turn. Now, he can still get hit once more, so get once more buff. And then he raises defense on super attack. So when he's fully built up, post-super, he's like over 500k defense on this turn with the extra support. Because obviously Cooler and Hearts are both giving support as well. So it's not like that's all him. But hey, for a free-to-play unit that you're going to be running on the team and just floating in that third spot to give support to everybody else, over 500k defense post-super attack, I would say, is pretty good. Because the extreme version of the Heroes team, and then when you double super, even more defense. But the extreme version of the Heroes team, your main rotations, you can run Hearts and Mechikabra, and then Hearts and Sealess, so you have a Big Bad Bosses unit in slot 2. Or even if you wanted to run, like if you're running like the Tech Janemba in slot 1, or Baby Janemba in slot 1, you can obviously still have Hearts, Sealess, Mechikabra, whoever, in slot 2 to activate Big Bad Bosses for arms in slot 3. So I do think he's actually a pretty solid addition to the team. Let's go ahead and do this. I haven't got a ton of orbs for Mechikabra, but that's fine. But yeah, all in all, I would say Arms is actually a very solid unit if you need that final piece for the Extreme Heroes team. Because the way they've split the Heroes teams, where you basically have Super or Extreme, obviously if you're somebody who didn't get like all of the summonable units, then you might be missing one or two of the pieces in order to make like a really optimal team. So I do think Arms actually definitely fills that slot. And the fact that he has Big Bad Bosses just benefits those few units on the team that do have it, that are not necessarily going to have all their available link partners if, like I say, you're somebody who did not pull all of the units for the extreme side. So being a free-to-play option, I do think Arms is definitely very solid. So we've got 4 links active here, including Big Bad Bosses. We should be fully built up at this point. Yeah, 386k defense. So post-super, he is going to over 500k, which is pretty good after one super attack. Big Bad Bosses obviously does make a lot of difference, but very, very good link. You always want to get those units link level to 10 and have Big Bad Bosses active as and when you can, because 25% extra attack and defense for free is a pretty significant buff for any unit that has Big Bad Bosses. So 3.2, we're never going to see him bust out like, you know, 5-6 million attack stats, I think, even on rotations dripping with support. But turns like this, double super, he's probably at or just over 600k defense for this turn. So pretty good for a third slot floating support unit. I also think his super attack animation, even though it's very basic, because it's very much like one of the older ones, this card is a couple of years old, you have to bear in mind. But I do quite like it, because it has the whole like hit thing where he straightens out his arm for like the punch, but then it pulls it back into the Kamehameha, which I think is actually pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think down below of this free-to-play Arms. I definitely think he is a solid option for the Heroes team, especially considering he is free-to-play. So obviously, regardless of how your summons went on the banner, like I say, if you're missing certain pieces of the team to run, you know, full summonable units, I do think Arms is a very solid option. Depending on the build and depending on the boss, I would run him on the team over, potentially, some of the summonable support units. Obviously, units like Janemba and Metal Cooler that don't have their awakenings yet, they can look good in the right scenarios, but I would say this Arms is a very, very solid support unit. And we don't have any of the toughest red zone bosses where the final stage is tech. Obviously, Cell Max is probably not going to be an event that you want to take this guy into. But other than that, I would say that he is looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and transform here so we have less support. And let's see what we get now, because this is a very realistic rotation. So we only have Metamorphosis, Big Bad Bosses, Fear and Faith, and he has 310k defense. So he's still getting up to about 400k, and that's with no support on the rotation. So that is definitely pretty good for a free-to-play support unit, I think. So you guys will have to let me know what you think down below in the comment section. I think he's a solid option to run. That's all we can really ask for from these free-to-play units, but it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward, because we got a new free-to-play unit this year, Lags, who is quite disappointing. It'll be interesting to see what they do with her EZA, because assumingly going forwards now, every year is going to have a free-to-play unit who awakens the year after. We'll just see as a super attack again. See, nothing fancy, but I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So, we're going to see how much he takes from a super here. He's got what? Just over 400k defense? So he's probably going to take damage. Yeah, 192. And that's where his weakness is always going to be as a free-to-play unit. That some of the harder-hitting bosses, he only has raw defense. So he's obviously going to be taking some damage from these super attacks. But overall, I think he's a cool unit. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.